Good morning, gentlemen. It's Mr. Holding. I am just doing a screencast to assist you with your assignment, and it's about using Microsoft Excel, the modern version, so I think it's 2013. In data analysis, now I'm using a Mac, however I believe that both Mac and PC on the new versions are very similar. So in order to make a graph, first thing we need is some data, and I've got some data here which is out of the example that I've given you all, and it's for current and voltage. So the first thing we do is we want to get the data and we highlight them. So we've got an X and a Y value there. We've highlighted them and we make our way up here to charts. Okay, and you can see there's a range of things that you can choose from here. Now in science, you're going to find that a large amount of stuff you're going to want to do is on scatter plots or line graphs. Okay, you see line there, but I'd be choosing a scatter plot and choosing this one here. There are other stuff you can use that will do, in many cases will do the same thing, but we're going to pick the scatter plot. And there you go, there's your graph there. So we'll move this over here. For now we might blow it up a little bit so that we can see it a bit better. And we can see that our points are there. And just looking at that there, I can look at that and say that's roughly a linear graph, which means it's in a straight line. So that's what we do to get our graph up straight away. So there's a couple of things we can do. You can see that as soon as you do a chart, you end up with chart layout and format. So if you click that, the first two we'll have a look at is grid lines and axis. Now grid lines are basically that, lines. Okay, so we can either get rid of them or we can include them. I like to include them because I think they help represent the data and help you interpret the data better. So I like to include those types of things there. Okay, the next thing we can do is look at the axis. We'll look at the axis titles for starters. Okay, so there's two buttons there. I confuse them sometimes, but the axis title is about titles, and you can see that there's no titles here, so we want to include them. The horizontal, we want to include one below, and while it's there, we may as well label it voltage, including units. So it's important that we include units, and we might make that a bit bigger as well so that we can read it. And then obviously we want to do the vertical axis as well. I like to do this rotated view, but you can do it however you like in all honesty. And this one's your current. And again, make sure you include the units and then make it an appropriate size so that it's, you know, your reader can understand it. So we've got our labels in there. Okay. So next thing we want to do is we've got labels. We want to actually label the entire graph. Okay, and that's simple. Go to chart title, and we want to put one above. Okay, same thing. We might say voltage versus current, and again we'll blow it up, make it a bit bigger, underline it because it's a title, and we've got our graph there. Okay, so from here we've got our information. Okay, and I suppose the next thing we want to do is look at this line and what to do with it. Now, this is a scatter plot, which means all the points are plotted according to the X and Y values, and then we've got to interpret what kind of line do we want. Do we want a point to point, which is straight line from here to here, straight line from here to here and go through? Do we want a line of best fit? That will just a straight line that will go through with equal number of points above and below, or do we want a curve? So you come over here to trend line, and you can work it out here. So for instance, we're going to go a linear trend line or a forecast line, which will give us that. However, in some cases it's not going to be a straight line. So for instance, when you're doing, you've got a velocity on this side and time and something's accelerating, you'll see that it starts to do this and curves up. Now if you have a straight line, that's not going to represent the data accurately. So you want to choose one of these curved ones. Okay, so that's what we do in this case we want a straight line, so we're going to leave it there as a straight line. Okay, in terms of formatting our axes, alright, so in this case it's fine, but let's say that we wanted to this is going up in twos, we want some more accuracy, so we're going to go to the horizontal axis and go to the axes options, and we can see there our minimum value is 0 and our maximum value is 14. Now if I wanted to, I could change this to 20. Again, you can see that my maximum value there has changed, and my major units are what's called the interval between. So in this case I'm going up in twos. I think I might go ones, and you can see that I change, and the grid lines change to match that as well. Now I might go back to the default settings. If I click those buttons, it just goes to default, and just say OK to accept. If I want to change the vertical, I need to do the same thing as well, but for vertical axis, and that's there. And I can do all those myriad of different changes as well. So that's all the way that we can modify this. Finally, one thing that we might want to do as well in trend lines is to include, if for a linear equation that is, we might want to include the equation. So y equals mx plus c, which shows a relationship between y and x. In this case here, it is here. Again, we can blow it up. Again, I know I went through that fast. So trend line, options, go to options, and then click the button here. Actually, we'll cancel because we've already got it there. And it's y equals mx plus c. In this case, it's minus because it was a negative. All right, but we can change that now. In our case, we've got V and current, which is I. So we change that to represent that. So voltage equals that times the current minus that, and that'll give us the relationship between the two there. So that there is all you will need to know to be able to do that. I hope it's helpful. If you have any other questions, please feel free to come and ask. Finally, I should say, these things here, unless you're actually going to use them, probably worthwhile getting rid of them. So you just click on it and delete it. You may use that in some instances. So in the velocity time, the line represents the acceleration. So you may leave that key there to show that that line represents acceleration. But you don't always do that, and it's only specific to what you need. Okay, thanks gents, hope it helps.